Now, this card you see before you is a very important card and an epic pickup for me. It probably doesn't come across in this narration, but I am ecstatic to add this card in my collection. I think it's important first, though, to know the background on why I chose this card. A few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, I put out a video asking for opinions on whether to get the 53 page, the 56 Mantle, or the 55 Koufax. I love seeing all the comments on that video and the reason why one of those cards should be the one to go after rather than the other two. Now, obviously, I chose the Mantle. There are a variety of reasons, but since I started shifting my focus to solely vintage, there's been one player as a Yankees fan that I desired to have in my collection. Now, it's not that I wouldn't have loved to have the Page or Koufax, because I really do want those cards, and I will get them at some point in my collecting life. And had I gotten either one of those cards, I would have been very happy. Mickey Mantle, however, is just a little extra special to me. So I want to show, his 59 here is a treasured part of my collection and a card that I plan on holding on to the last breath on this earth because of the moment I bought the card in the early days of my marriage. Likewise, the 54 is also a treasured part of my collection that I plan on holding on to again until the end because it was a gift from my family. So, does this card hold the same importance? And the short answer is no, not really. At least not in regards to family importance like some of the other cards have. But this card is important because of the connections I've made in this hobby. And so I'll explain that a little further. So the fact that so many of you took time out of your day to watch and comment on the original video means the world to me. I mean, I say it all the time, but this hobby and this community are fantastic. But I really do want to call out one person who influenced me the most on this decision to pick up this version of the 56 Mantle. So if you've been around the community for any length of time, then you know Adam over at Vintage Sanctuary. Though Adam and I have never met, I consider him a friend and collecting brother, like many of you do. Adam's influence is his support for so many in this hobby. And he's a supporter of my content and channel as well. And so Adam had viewed the video, and Adam faithfully comments on my content. And he gave his totally biased opinion, in his words, that whatever card I chose would be great, but he reasoned that if I chose the Mantle, then I should go an extra step and get the whiteback version. With the thought being that the whiteback version has about 10 times less availability than the grayback. And Adam talked about that on a recent video too, when he talked about selling his grayback version. Now, certainly after looking at the pop reports on eBay, it bears out. Not that I didn't believe Adam, of course, but I think you always need to do your due diligence and your own research when looking at cards. So the search was on, but it wasn't heavily on because I had plenty of time to look for it. I was either going to wait till the National or through the end of the year. I really wasn't worried about it. And I wasn't worried about it until a listing popped up from Greg Morris Cards. I looked at the card when the listing popped up, and I saw that the bidding was fairly low. It was a card that just kind of, I liked the card. I liked the look of it. There wasn't staining on the card like I'd seen on a lot of versions. And so I put it on my watch list, and then I walked away. sort of a cool down period for me. Now, and the reason I need a cool down period is because I have a compulsive nature at times when it comes to cards and things. So I really have to strive for patience. It's sort of like when I look at things on Amazon and I put them in the cart, then I have to wait for several weeks and come back to it. And most of the time I end up moving it to save for later or deleting the item altogether because I didn't need it. I realized it wasn't really that important. So I wanted to follow the same process for this card, but this one was just a little different. I looked at this card and it spoke to me. I don't know if any of you have ever had that, but I just had that feeling that this was the one that I didn't want to let get away. And I don't have that about most cards that I buy. I mean, you're just picking up for your collection, right? So you're just thinking, you're just going through the list and you're like, hey, that's a good price. I'd like to have that as part of my collection. It's cheap enough, so you pick it up. This one was a little more than just, casual dollars. So I had to really think about, is this the card that I want? And it just showed me that it was. Again, this one was different. It's hard to explain, but I just knew that it was a card that I should go after. So the auction was coming to a close, and I kept watching the bids, and ultimately I wanted to put in a pretty strong bid. So I waited until the last minute of the process, put in my bid, and I obviously won because the card is here. 3 things about this card though. 1, I was happy to add it to my collection because I never regretted the purchase at all. And when I got it, it just basically was a confirmation that it was the card for me. So I love this card. Secondly, the card is not without issues. There's a little chipping on the edges and a wrinkle or two, but it gives it character. And for me, that's all I really needed. And that's what my collection is really about, is character. And here's the back. And there might be another wrinkle right there. But again, like me, I have plenty of wrinkles. So you're probably better off not seeing my face today. So I love this card, never regretted the decision, and I got it under budget, which for me was also important, and for my wife too. But anyway, here's the card. Appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next video.